Welcome to Biz Coach and Coffee, where our guests are experts, entrepreneurs, coaches, and consultants that share tips, strategies, and tactics to help small business entrepreneurs grow their business for long-term success. Please welcome your host, Biz Coach Steve Feld.
Hello, I'm Biz Coach Steve Feld, and my goal is to stop business owners from suffering entrepreneurial depression and start making running their businesses much easier. Business owners and entrepreneurs hire me to crack multiple 6 and 7 figures without burning themselves out. Today, we have another wonderful guest for you. We have Rebecca Beaton. Now, Rebecca, she's a career coach who specializes in helping people figure out what they want to do in their life. Oh, Lord, do we need that? She loves working with people who've established themselves in their career, but yet feel a pull for something more or different, especially if they want to start their own business. As someone who struggled for years with what kind of business she wanted to start herself, she understands what it feels like to be stuck in indecision, and is a big reason why she has spent the last 9 years honing in on how to best help her clients find clarity faster. Please welcome Rebecca.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for being on our show. So it sounds like you didn't know what you wanted to do when you grew up.
I did not. No. And one thing I hear a lot of my clients say that I felt was, I wish I was just one of those people who popped out of the womb being like, this is what I want to do. And it's clear and it's there and you don't have to struggle with it. But I've come to learn that I'm very much not alone in that I was complete opposite of that. I've always had lots of different interests and wanted to do many different things. So it was a bit of a challenge for sure to get clarity on what I wanted to do.
Oh, absolutely. It's amazing. You go to college and some people just like, I'm going to be a biologist. End of story. I want to be a biologist my whole life. And then there's people like us that go, I still don't even know what I want to do.
Yeah. And the only reason I have stuck with this for so long now, which is like coming up on 10 years, is because I can constantly change it.
Right.
Like I don't change who I work with, but I can change like the programs or the offerings or the way I do things or how I want to grow. Like there's still so much room for variety. Do I want to do speaking? Do I want to do podcasts? Do I want to create content? What do I want to do? And let's switch it up.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur when you create your own business.
Yeah, totally.
But you have to have the clarity of what you really want to do in your own business.
Yes. Yeah. And you have to have, so I find when you're not sure what you want to do, you have lots of different interests. A lot of the time we'll think, oh, I have to pick one skill to specialize in, right? I have to become a specialist in programming or healthcare nurse or even like an administrator. But when we have a lot of different interests, it's actually easier to think more about the problem we want to solve. I'm sure you're familiar with this idea, right? Classic business 101. But also the same when you don't want to start a business. When you want to have a career, you're like, okay, what problem do I want to solve for whoever I'm working for? Whether that could be a big corporate business, it could be a smaller business, it could be consulting, it could be freelance, it can be whatever. But like, what's the value that you want to bring? And you can kind of package skills together to solve problems.
That's it. And it's funny you mention that because many entrepreneurs, they hop into entrepreneurship, business ownership, and yet they don't know who their target market is, what the problems that target market has, and how are they solving. But they just want to be in business.
Yes. Yeah. What do you find? Am I allowed to ask you questions?
Sure.
It just happens. Okay. Like, what do you find drives the people who are most successful in business?
Oh, it's the simplest thing. Well, it's a couple things, but the simplest is clarity. They're clear on who their market is, what are their problems, and how they solve those problems. It's crystal clear. Those are the people that are most successful.
Mhm.
Along with those people, they also have help and support. They are not by themselves. And they know they
Mhm.
only know what they know. So they might be good at sales and marketing. So what they do is they find other people to support them in, say, accounting and finance and operations and creative design. They
Or
know
outsourcing.
to know where they're not a master of everything.
Yeah. Yeah, cool.
Those are the ones who thrive the best.
That thrives the best. Yeah. Is there anything you've noticed of what drives people to succeed in business? Like on a deeper level? And I'm
Yeah, I mean,
asking because I'm also going to share what I've noticed, and I'm just curious if we've
yeah,
like noticed similarities.
love to hear the comparison. It's like what I hear because I've been teaching a class called ABCs of Starting a Business for 6 years, and I've taught it 1 to 3 times a month for 6 years. So we go through the good, the bad, the ugly of entrepreneurship. So why are you starting a business? And a lot of people are saying to have a better life. And when we hear, I want to work less and make more, we can't stop laughing because I've owned and operated 7 businesses and ran 3 others.
Yeah.
It's like, folks, I'm telling you the hardcore reality right now. You're going to work 3 times harder and more, and you're going to make 1/10 of what you used to make at the beginning, if
At the
you're
beginning.
lucky.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
But if
So what do
you're
you find? Yeah, what is the
focused,
thing? Yeah.
if you're focused on what you want to do in 3 years, you're going to start building the lifestyle you dreamt of. And now it's like planting a seed. It's now flowering and blossoming.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I've noticed similar in definitely with the lifestyle piece. I've noticed because I help people get to a point of clarity, I don't help people start businesses usually unless it's a coaching business, because that's my business experience. So I don't really help outside of that. Maybe if it's like freelancing or something by yourself and it's service based.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time I'm getting people to that point of clarity on what they want to do. And then they're going out and doing that. They're starting a business. And so the people I've noticed that aren't succeeding are, or who maybe don't even end up deciding they want to do a business, is the ones driven simply by lifestyle.
Right.
Right? I want to work less and make more money. I find that's actually not a big enough driver in itself. And also, it's not 100% not the reality for me, it wasn't the reality for the first 6 years.
Yeah. You're
So
absolutely
like 3 years, I would have loved 3 years. But also, I find the people who are succeeding and really following through on business want to grow and build something of their own. Like that, I
there
just
you
find
go.
is the biggest thing and like determinant of whether people are persistent, which is really, in my opinion, the key to succeeding. Uh,
Mhm.
being persistent, and those are the people with that driver. Grow, I want to grow and build and create something of my own. Do
Oh,
you
it's
find
so
that
true.
too?
We're going to get a little deeper into this. We're going to take a quick break from our sponsor. We'll be right back with Rebecca.
This episode is sponsored by Spotlight Books. Get your expert book completed in 30 days. If you don't have an expert lead magnet book about you and how you serve your market, then visit www.spotlight-books.com. Link is also in the show notes. Put a spotlight on your expertise.
And we're back.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about going a little bit deeper about the driving force behind what drives people to, and what's the difference between successful entrepreneurs and non-successful entrepreneurs. And we were talking about the driving, it's greater than just the lifestyle. But what I've also seen too, the people who are really super successful, they are also looking at, they have an exit strategy, believe it or not, out of the gate. So what is the end goal of your business? Do you want to sell it? Do you want to pass it on, legacy? What is the end goal? They're crystal clear on the path. Whereas the entrepreneurs, the business owners who are kind of all over the place and never get traction, they really don't have that clarity to the end goal, that target. So they're still trying to figure it out along the way. Some businesses do, but a majority of them, you got to get through those humps. You got to get through that startup hump and the growth hump. And if you're not clear where you're taking your business, you're always going to be like doing this, and it'll never go anywhere.
Yeah, clarity,
That's
all the
it.
ways. Clarity on what kind of business you want to have. If you want to start a business, uh, clarity on your who you're serving exactly and the problem you're solving we talked about, and then now clarity as well on okay, what's the goal and the end game.
That's it. And I've done this with many business owners. It's like, let's look at your business 5 years from now. Who's on your team? What do they do? What do they look like? These kind of things. And they start visualizing it and they're like freaking out, like, oh, I'm going to have a team in 5 years. It's like, well, if you're going to grow your business, you can't do it by yourself. And that actually hinders a lot of business owners from growing, is because they think I can do it all myself. No one can tell me how to do my business. I don't need help. And they're not around. Not for long.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I know I've heard a lot of people talk about outsourcing being challenging and giving over control, and I feel like I've always been the opposite. I can like over outsource. I'm like, what is the least amount of work I can do? I actually am a pretty lazy business owner these days. Like,
It's a good thing sometimes.
like what's the minimal amount? Who can do what?
Right.
Um, don't work before noon. Great.
I know a thriving business owner, and this just cracks me up because we used to take our coaching meetings and he'd be in bed. And I'm like,
That's
shouldn't you
wonderful.
be in your office? He goes, my office is 15 feet from my bed. I have a real office and it has 50 some people in it. And that's 3 blocks away. I very rarely go in it. I hire the best. I'm great at giving everything off my plate. And I'm great at just asking questions. That's my business. That's my
Mm,
leadership style. He goes, my business grows. He goes, business grows double digits year over year.
wow. I want to talk to him. And did you interview him on your podcast?
Yes, I did. A couple years ago, I was actually on his podcast. He ended up, his goal was like, listen, in 2 years, I'm going to sell my company. I mean, he was crystal clear. Here's who the companies I'm looking at to buy it. Here's what they're going to pay me. I mean, he knew his exit strategy to a T. He goes, because I want to jump over to this next venture.
Mm,
So I need to sell
great.
this company to do that. He goes, but I want this company at a certain valuation before I do it. He was crystal clear in his mission.
Mm,
His employees didn't leave him.
cool. Yeah. Sounds like he's pretty smart.
Yeah, he's a young guy too, but he was very clear in building his company, and I think that's what you were talking about too. It's like we are the ones in college, like, I don't know what I'm going to do in life, and the ones that are crystal clear, like to become that biologist, they get out of college, they have a phenomenal job, they're happy, they have a great career in that industry, and they retire very, very well, crystal clear. Then you have entrepreneurship. It's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Well, 7 businesses later, it's like, what do I want to do with my life? I know what I love to do and what I'm good at, and that's what I'm passionate about.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think maybe this has been your experience, like it's okay to come back to that question. What do
Yes.
I want to do with my life now? Maybe that's a better question. Because one thing I find is a big myth or fallacy, I don't know what to call it, that people are living under because it's an outdated way of thinking. The world of work has changed really fast, so it's not anyone's fault, but we're still thinking in a way that isn't relevant to today's world where things change really quickly. We need to adapt. We also have more opportunity, like our passions and interests will change over time. And so the idea of picking a thing that we are then going to do for the rest of our life, I've noticed, is something that will actually keep people stuck in indecision because
That's
it's
it.
so much pressure and you can't possibly know what you're going to like even like 5, 10 years down the road. So coming back to that question, which sounds like maybe you've done a bunch, like is okay. So you might know what you want to do and then you might change your mind at some point and that's okay too.
You're going to shift and adjust in your business. It's natural. And if you resist it, that's when you start having issues. So there was a lot of business owners in 2020 refused to pivot, shift, adjust, whatever you want to call it, and they're gone. Simple as that.
Mhm.
They are no longer in business.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
it's
that's so true.
done. And you had
Mhm.
other business owners thriving and scrambling for the change to like survive. At the end of 2021, those businesses were having their best 2 years ever.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of adapting and pivoting that had to happen for people in the pandemic for sure.
Exactly. And we were talking about this before. I went virtual years before pandemic. So when pandemic hit, all my clients were already used to Zoom and everything else.
Yeah. Want to
But
know
I,
something really funny? Sorry to interrupt you, but I was like, this is fine. I went virtual with my business 3 weeks before lockdowns.
oh, see,
So funny.
but
Best timing ever.
it's great timing. But you got to get your clients, and then you had to introduce other new clients to like what Zoom is or Skype or what.
Yeah, totally. I found though, like just owning it, like if you want to work with me, this is how I work.
That's it.
And I actually had my business coach at the time advise me on that because I was like, I don't know, like a lot of people like me in person. I don't know if they'll still want to work with me. She's like, just own it. Just be like,
Own it.
so if we work together, this is how we work and this is how we do it. And no one questions that. Like I want to work with you. I'm not going to think
I
about how you work together. Yeah.
exactly. As long as the result is, the end result. I explained to
Yeah.
my clients, I'm like, I'm going virtual. Here's why. Boom, boom, boom. Here's how it's going to help you. Boom, boom, boom. And they all went, when do we do it? How do we do it?
Great. Yeah.
It was that fast. And I had
Yeah.
one client resist. And I know that once the pandemic hit, they called me up and like, I've been dying for 2 years. Now I'm dead. It's like, well, you didn't make any shifts in your business for the last couple of years that I've suggested. And sorry.
Yeah. And that shows a bit less adaptable mindset of not wanting to work with someone virtually, right?
Right. And that's a great point you were bringing. It's like, what do you want to do with your life? It's going to shift. It's going to change. It
Mm-hmm.
can
And that's
take,
okay.
it's
It's
okay.
okay.
It's
You
okay.
know what? Here's something I came across that I read once from who's a psychologist? Adam Grant. He just posted on his Instagram one day, and I was like, this. I'm like incorporating this into my philosophy, which was it's okay to change your mind because when you change your mind, it just means you have new information. So it doesn't
That's
mean
it.
you made a wrong decision or a bad information. You still made the best decision with the information available to you at that time. And then you got more information. You maybe tried something out, or you learned something, or you met someone and you want to change your mind. That's okay. And I think the reason that's so important to realize is because so often changing our mind is seen as a failure or a lack of reliability. I'm someone who changes my mind a lot about things and was labeled a quitter from a young age and told you don't want to be a quitter, stick with this, you don't want to be a quitter, and that's a bad thing. And I think that's a common way of
Yeah,
thinking, right? So that is actually, no, it's okay.
it's
It's okay to
okay.
change, especially in today's world. Oh my gosh.
You better be ready for it. I
Yeah.
mean, the only, consistent thing in the world is change. So own it.
Yeah. So true. Yeah.
Well, I know we're almost out of time, and all my guests usually give a gift or something to the audience to help them grow their business or in their life. What do you have to give away?
I have for anyone who's looking for more clarity on what kind of business they want to start or what they want next in their life, I have a free training called Clear the Way to Your Dream Career. It's a 3-day mini course. And I believe you said you'll put the link in the show notes for that.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Good stuff.
So take advantage of Rebecca's offer. If you're thinking, hey, I'm ready to make that jump, I always call it jumping into the abyss. Get a little clarity on it. Take advantage of her offer. Get that course, and we will have the link in the show notes. Rebecca, I want to say thank you so much for being our guest today and letting us know, like, hey, I think you hit it pretty good. Clarity is the key on everything.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, great. Well, if you like Rebecca and other guests, please make sure you like and subscribe to this channel, whatever you're listening on. And I'm sure Rebecca is just like me. She wants to hear how great she is. So please leave a positive feedback or, positive constructive feedback if you need to. This is Biz Coach Steve Feld wishing you and your business much success.
We hope you enjoyed today's topic. If you'd like to discuss how you can apply these strategies in your business, let us know. This episode is sponsored by Spotlight Books. Get your own expert book written about you in 30 days. Set yourself apart from the competition. Make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. Also, feel free to give us your comments. We look forward to hearing from you on Biz Coach and Coffee.